Hi, my name is Michelle Elizabeth and I'm a life coach and a mystic. So I've come to speak to you today about the old paradigm and the new paradigm that we're moving into. You probably hear quite a few people talk about this. What we're actually doing is we're leaving the old paradigm of duality and we're moving into the new paradigm of unity. And this began in 2012. This was when, on the 25th of December, this was when we began to bring in the new paradigm of unity. So we've had quite an overlap between the old paradigm of duality and the new paradigm of unity. And since 2012, we have been through a series of gateways. And each time we've gone through the gateway, we've been able to bring in a higher vibrational energy into the earth and a higher vibrational energy into us. Because the transition from the duality to unity is one of ascension. It's one of raising our vibrational rates and making everything vibrate at a much higher frequency. So this is what we've been going through, and it's also a lot of the reasons why we've been doing a lot of processing. We've been getting rid of a lot of our baggage, and this is for two reasons. The first reason is all of the baggage and the conditioning, the habits, the roles, the labels, the distinctions. All of these things are conditions of a duality which we're leaving, so we're leaving behind. And also because those things have quite a low and rather dense vibrational energy. So there's been lots going on for us to be able to then experience unity. So I think you've heard me all speak before about all the work that the light workers were doing up until 2012. And light workers have been around for centuries, and they've always been here because they have been able to influence the mass population and the mass consciousness, bringing in the light. So they would bring in the light and then beam that light out. So they were also responsible for bringing in new operating systems, bringing in the light and tethering it into the earth, and just helping to raise the collective consciousness with a higher vibrational light. Now in 2013, or at the end of 2012, light workers had basically done their job, and we got to the tipping point of raising the consciousness and awakening, and that's why we were able to then bring in the paradigm of unity in 2012. So in 2013, all of the light workers retired. And we became energy workers because we were no longer in service. We were no longer responsible for raising the mass consciousness of the planet and for bringing in and tethering the light. It is now something that we were doing naturally and was part of us. We had done the processing that we needed to do to raise our vibrations to be able to exist in unity state. So we went from being in service and helping bring in the light and helping bring in the tipping point of the awakening. And then what our job became was to live it, to live unity in the duality paradigm that we were still overlapping. It was our job to use these new gifts, these new energies, just in our day-to-day life, bringing everything into unity. So I'm going to talk just a little bit about the two different paradigms and how different they actually are. They're very different in energetic structure, and they're also very different in the conditions that make up these two different paradigms. So the paradigm of duality, which is the paradigm that we are leaving, but it is one that we have all grown up in, and for many, many lifetimes. So it is the conditions and the rules of duality which we are processing, getting rid of, breaking down and releasing from our system so that we can all move into unity. So some of the conditions of the duality, the old paradigm, is a polarity paradigm. So it's a world of opposites, of either or, of good and bad, light and dark. Okay, so these things don't exist at the same time, they exist either or. And it is these conditions that put us on the pendulum swing of life. You know, where you can have everything's going really well, everything's going really great, you've got the money's flowing, you're feeling you know, in unity with everybody around you. And then the next minute is as if it all just goes to crap, and you just feel as though, you know, you've lost your spark, everything seems to be going wrong again, and you seem to be a little bit in the dark. And this is that thing where I was talking earlier about, in a previous post on the Enlightenment Project on Facebook, where I was talking about sometimes we sit there and we wait for the other shoe to drop, because experience has taught us that the good is always followed by the bad. Okay, so this is the conditions of the duality, the polarities. You have good, then you have bad. You have light, then you have dark. You have struggle, and then you have ease. All right, so you can always look at it. So a duality, the conditions of a duality are polarities, opposites. This is a world of opposites, of either or, of division, of distinctions, of labels, of borders. This is a world in which the I, but the external I, is more important than anything else. Our external journey in a duality has been more important than our internal journey, because our external journey is one of control, one of domination, one of competition. It is, I'm better than you. I've got more money than you. I'm more successful than you. I'm more spiritual than you. These are all the conditions of a duality that we're leaving behind. And these are the things that are really quite entrenched in us that we need to get rid of to be able to bring in unity, which is why I have my processing courses and my enlightenment courses and different things like that, because they're showing you or teaching you the tools that you can dismantle this and release it so that you can move into unity. So if you think about the world and how you think it exists, it is this external journey. It is about showing other people what you've got on the surface. On the surface is more important than anything else. It is a world of competition. And there is nothing more competitive, actually, than the spiritual community, where people divide what they do. I mean, at the end of the day, spirituality and the work that we do with spirit is all about energy. It's as simple as that. If it's energy, that's what we work with, and everything is energy. The fact that we break it down and divide it and put it into categories and segments, such as I'm a crystal healer, or I'm an energy healer, or I'm a Reiki healer. These are all dividing and segmenting a whole. So again, you can see how these reflect the conditions of the duality that we're leaving. And we're moving into unity. So that's why as we move into unity, it doesn't matter whether you're a Reiki healer. It doesn't matter whether you use crystals or, you know, whether you use ribbons and tutus. You know, it doesn't matter, because we're all doing exactly the same thing. And what we don't want to do is limit ourselves. So going back to the conditions of a duality, of the old paradigm, this competitive, this nature, this thing of I am special, but I'm also an individual. I'm different from you. I'm better than you. I'm worse than you. It's these things of ownership. This is my idea. This is my little corner of the world. And what it is we just then end up putting ourselves in lots of little boxes, which is what a lot of the spiritual community has done. It is full of incredibly lovely, compassionate, heartfelt people. But unfortunately, they've put themselves all into little boxes, because they sit there and they say, this is who I am. I am the best Reiki teacher. I am the best hypnotherapist. And they're closing themselves off from everybody else. And the other thing is that a lot of people, why they're not experiencing unity at the moment, is because they're still very heavily invested in duality. And it's almost like people haven't understood that everything changed in 2012. And the years between 2012 and now have been getting better and better and better. And even though they've been really difficult at times, and we've all been having to face our dark and shadow sides, it was so that we could get to this point now with the gateway we've just gone through and experience unity, because we're vibrating at a clearer rate, which means our vibrational energy is vibrating much, much faster and higher. And so we can see and access a great deal more. So we go back to the old paradigm of duality, which we're still in that crossover period. So, you know, again, you're going back to look at all the things that you believe about this world that you now need to let go of, because they're no longer the conditions of our world. We've now moved into duality. The conditions are very different. However, we're still bringing in, or some people are still bringing in, the conditions of duality because it's your belief system, which is why the courses and the coaching and everything else that I do is so important, because we're dismantling that belief system. We're dismantling the conditioning that we've got that has entrenched in us the conditions of the duality. Because, you know, it isn't a case of either or anymore. It isn't a case of you can either be rich or you can be spiritual. This just isn't true anymore. This isn't something that holds true. We can be all. We can be everything. We can be an individual, yet at the same time we can be part of this collective and working with the universe. You know, we can be special, but at the same time we're no special than anybody else, and we're just the same as everybody else, and you can have both things now. So we've moved into, well, in particular with the gateway that we went through at the equinox, this has brought in a much, much higher vibrational energy. The energies are incredibly tense, they're intense, they're incredibly fast moving. We can all manifest with ease. Now, you are all manifesting. However, a lot of you are probably manifesting negative stuff because you are still in the mindset and you are still hooked into the duality paradigm, and because you haven't done your processing, so you've got your positive and your negative sides are not balanced or reconciled. So in your unconscious, you've got a little bit more of the negative traits that you are unaware of, and this is probably what you're then manifesting. So we've moved from a duality paradigm, which is opposites, conflict, control, competition, either or, up or down, black or white. We have moved into the unity paradigm, and for many people they've got feet in both camps. Some people haven't made the move or the transition into the unity paradigm because their vibrations haven't raised high enough, so they're not able to access it. So it's a bit like is it the colour spectrum or the light spectrum? They all exist, but you can't access all of them, or the human eye cannot access all of them. And it's the same with going into the unity paradigm. You have to be vibrating at a certain vibrational rate to be able to see it. So at the moment we've got both paradigms are existing simultaneously, and depending on your vibrational rate depends on what you experience. You can raise your vibrational rate by dismantling and deconstructing and dissolving the conditions of the old paradigm, which were brought into us through conditioning from birth. Okay, now moving into unity, so this is what you will be experiencing within yourself and also in your outer reality. So the paradigm of unity, much, much higher vibrational rate. It's all about honesty, integrity, truth, commitment, responsibility. So it's all those things where, you know, we need to be able to take responsibility for our lives. We need to have a commitment to this journey that we're having. We need to have integrity, okay? And if we don't have integrity, which does display itself a lot, okay? There are a lot of people working without integrity. They are not what they say they are. Which are all parts of a condition of a duality. This isn't a criticism. This is a condition of the duality. Right, so condition of a duality is opposites, positive and negative. If you're aware of your positive side, you're unaware of your negative side, and it often hides in your unconscious. Because this is all about the external journey, being in a duality, and about what other people think of us and whether we are the most successful, spiritual, wealthy, whatever, we kind of project these things forward. So you often get people who are putting maybe their best foot forward, or they're portraying themselves as something that they're not. And there used to be, you know, in the old paradigm, you know, fake it till you make it. And there's a lot of people that do that. However, that is creating energy that it's it doesn't have any integrity. And it's one of those things that as I say to all of my clients, look, it doesn't matter what you do and what your decision is that you're going to do, make that decision conscious. Okay, so if you are doing something because you're feeling incredibly insecure inside, or because you believe that it's going to make you a worthier person, or you believe that people are going to think well of you, or it might increase your business, you have to be really, really careful about what you're putting out there. Because if you're putting something out there that's fake or false, that is the energy that you are creating, and that's also the energy that you are attracting to yourself. And manifestation is incredibly fast at the moment. So if you're not being true to yourself, if you're not being honest, then you are going to find that you are surrounded by people who are not being honest with you and are not being true with you. And you won't find that your life will flow, and you won't be manifesting the dreams and desires that you think that you want, because you are not an energetic match for that. So for a lot of people, what is very important at the moment is to sit and think about the conditions of the duality that you're leaving, and try and get your head around the fact that you're letting go of that those conditions don't apply anymore. And the only way that they will apply is if we keep bringing them back in, and if we believe them. So it's that kind of understanding, and it is mind-blowing, because for generations and generations, lifetimes, you've lived within a duality. It's been the only reality that you've known. And they were the terms and the conditions. They were the rules. That was the way that this played out. And that has all changed now. We do not live in a duality anymore. We still have the conditions of duality within us until we do our processing, until we do our shadow work, until we release our habits and our conditioning. But once we've done that, then we're a much, much lighter vessel. We vibrate at a much, much higher rate, and we can experience unity, as I do. And it is the most amazing and incredible thing ever. And my journey of moving into unity took a long time, and I had to, do a great deal of work on balancing my ego. I had the death of the masculine and feminine within me. I had the death of duality within me, which felt like real deaths at the time. But you don't need to go through that. And it's much, 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 much quicker. And one of the first things that you have to do is just get your head around it. Just understand the difference between duality and unity. That we are leaving the duality, and we're leaving all of the rules, terms and conditions that came with the duality, and we're moving into unity. So we're moving away from labels, distinctions, divisions, borders. And you can even see this on the global stage as we move forward, and you can see it in our children. And our children are absolutely amazing, and I know they get an awful lot of criticism for being the millennials and being these oversensitive, slightly wimpy, moany generation. But they're not. They're the unity children, and they're the ones that are bringing in unity. And they are the ones that they don't see divisions and borders. They don't see different countries. They don't believe that they need to sacrifice themselves for work. They want more balance. They want more meaning in the work that they do, but they also want a work-life balance. And they are saying no to the way that they're being treated. And yes, fair enough, we were brought up in a duality. We were brought up that you worked hard, that you shut your mouth when your boss had a go at you, that your boss could treat you in any way that he wanted, or she wanted, that you had to work incredibly, incredibly hard to get whatever it is you wanted. Well, that was a duality. So these children are our unity children. So they're coming in and they're going, no, I'm not flogging myself to work. I want more of a work-life balance. I want to be spoken to properly and treated fairly and treated with respect. I want to work together with my colleagues. So there is big changes coming in, and this is the thing, we need to look to our children, and rather than criticise them and try and get them to fit in with our old model, we need to follow their lead, because they are the children being born into unity. So they are the ones that know the terms and the conditions, the structures, the rules of unity. So what everybody needs to be doing at the moment is just getting your head around the fact that, recognise what the conditions of duality were. Get your head around the fact that we're leaving it. Look at the conditions of unity and get your head around the fact that this is the world that we're moving into. And then you just need to look at, right, your responsibility is to clear your vessel and raise your vibrations. And you do this by doing some processing work, seeing what your triggers are, seeing where you've got dualities in you. Because what your job is, and what I did, was very much about getting the opposites within me and balancing and reconciling them, and then you can release the duality from within. You can then bring in a balanced state, which is the balanced energetic state of unity. And that is when you will then start to experience a completely different life, and you are going to find that things flow and that you can manifest. I mean, for me, things are taking minutes, half an hour to manifest. When I sit and I set my intention and this is what I want to do, you know, within an hour, a day at the very most, there it is. Everything is just flowing and falling into place. And since we've been going through, since 2012, as we were going through the series of gateways, every single gateway that we've gone through, I normally put something on Facebook about it, because my healing skills have gone up a notch. You know, and my healing skills are absolutely amazing now, and the things that are happening, and they're sort of so instant. They really are just incredible, and they leave me absolutely gobsmacked. And it is basically because I've been consciously walking my path. I'm aware of the gateways that go through. I do a lot of work before each gateway to make sure that I have dissolved the conditions of duality, that any of my triggers that are still here are released, and so therefore I am a clear vessel. I'm able to hold incredibly high vibrational light, which in turn means that my psychic abilities are off the charts, my healing abilities are off the charts, and so is my manifestation. And these are things that all of you can do. Okay, so I hope that has helped a little bit. I am in the process of updating my website. Are we still there? Yes, sorry, someone just tried to call me. Right, hopefully I can get this finished before they try and call me again. Yeah, so I'm in the process of updating my website. I've got some great things on there. So that's www.michelleelizabeth.co.uk. I now also have a YouTube channel, which I have been posting some of the live feeds that we do on here. I'm going to be opening my books again in the next week or so for some one-to-one clients. I think I'm probably going to have about 3 spaces there where we can do some one-to-one coaching. I'm in the process of producing all of my processing courses, my wealth creation course, my conscious eating course, how to read tarot. I'm in the process of recording all of these, so then you're able to buy and download them. And what else am I going to be doing? I'm in the process of looking at putting on a retreat in Ibiza next year. So there's lots and lots of things coming up. There's still lots and lots of freebies. And as I say, I'm going to be opening up some slots for some one-to-one. Sorry, they keep calling. Going to be opening up some slots to one-to-one, but do always get in touch with me. Speak to me on Facebook. I've got the Enlightenment Project on Facebook. The Enlightenment Project on Facebook. I've also got Instagram, SoundCloud. I mean, there's all sorts of things, but do go across and have a look at www.michelleelizabeth.co.uk, and you can also order psychic readings from there. So have a good day. Please leave me any messages, any feedback, any questions, and I'm going to hopefully just pop in every now and then and just answer some of your questions, because sometimes it's a little bit easier for you to understand when I'm talking rather than when I write. Okay? Well, lots of love to you all, and do your best to move from a duality into unity. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.